I have Maceo Lofton with me. He is the owner and founder of Aromas De Loft. Is that how you pronounce it?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think that's a spin-off of your last name because your last name is Lofton. You said Aromas De Loft. That's the
You
last
got it.
name. So that's
Yep.
pretty cool.
Yep.
That's
I
pretty
appreciate
cool.
it.
Well, welcome to the show. Maceo, how you doing, sir? I know you said you hit the gym. So let's start off by asking me, what did you hit today? Was it leg day, chest day? What was it?
Today was upper body. I just came off a cold, so I was like, I feel a lot better. Let's tap in, get the day going. I feel like my day always gets better hitting the gym and kind of, get the body moving. Um, I kind of feel like it's like that before before the. So it's like let's worry about self first. So yeah. Feel a lot better. I did a lot of traveling, so with the traveling, it's kind of like you off your schedule, off your routine. I was on the East Coast visiting family. We had our family reunion. So with the traveling, different time zones, like your body is like, what's going on? So, so I started the brand in 2021 officially, but I was like doing a lot of testing from like 2019, the gifting process. I mean, the brand just started off my love for scents. I feel like scents is like your self expression. Um, but setting like that stage for how can scents kind of live in your home, right? I think the niche that I found in the industry was just pretty much understanding that whenever there's someone that speaks about scent sometimes, especially in that older age, it's about a masculine, a feminine scent, right? So I feel like I really want to remove that completely from the brand. I feel like that's not really self-expression. I think self-expression really comes from like the brand itself. Or like that scent, that fragrance, really evoking like what the scents have inside of them. So that's pretty much what my love. I have a background coming from luxury retail, Saks and Barney's. Um, in those world of working in high fashion is like, are you gonna, spend a lot of money on a expensive perfume, cologne, candle, or are you gonna look fly, right? Like I'm from New York, so like that's the mecca of like looking fly. So it was always like a love there, but like where I'm gonna, put all my attention into. Um, so yeah, I mean, just that's just being real. It's like I always had a love for scents, but it's like as I got older, it's like, well, how can I now explore this with my fashion, right? The scent goes along with the outfit. It's not just about the outfit. And so I mean the first part, so utilize wood wicks, right? The first part of the brand was really about what scent goes together, or like how can I understand this? So I became more of a student, right? Understanding scents that I personally like, and then kind of diving in like how this correlates to actually being in the candle. Um, so like someone that's trying out, I got like a starter kit, um, put everything together, got scents that were like sampled, and I'm like, well, I like some of them, don't like some of them, but I'm not really making this for myself. I'm making it for other people, right? At the end of the day, but you should make something that you also like. So I just dived into using wood wicks as like this, as the actual property that we're going to use for the candles. And I'll put oils on them and let them sit for a few days, write names on them and kind of see which one actually sticks. You go back to it a few days, smell the wood wick and see if that scent really gravitate towards you. But I want it to be like in the range of like smoky, floral, a woodsy scent, something that's going to be citrus. So that was always like the concept. But then how can I make it my own, right? How can I actually like be the chemist behind some of these scents? And yeah, I mean, growing up, my mom favorite scent was it was Elizabeth Taylor White Diamond, right? Came out in the 90s. Um I don't know, like the scent profile for that one is more of a floral.
So you were mentioning about you were saying something about your mother and how she taught you about you were at your family, that part.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was kind of like, yeah, we're just like in in that scenario of like how scent's kind of like been always a part of like expression. And yeah, like just how it came about. Like my mom growing up wore white diamond in the 90s. You know, white diamond was like a huge, I would say like a huge perfume. But just one of the sense that now that I'm like in the industry of like fragrances and understanding like the olfactory, I can smell jasmine from that scent. Like it just comes like jasmine accord just literally is like the middle base note. And it's so funny, like when you smell scents now or when I smell them, I'm like, just can pinpoint what exactly is in there. And I think jasmine accord, when you do smell it, you're like, wow, this scent smells amazing. And I can get why people are attracted to it. So it's just understanding like what you currently like or what you like, period, and kind of bridging the two. So I think what I wanted to do is really remove gender completely from the brand. And how I did that is like just when people ask like if this is candle for a man or is it a candle for a woman, it's like what do you like in it, right? Is it energizing to you? What is it evoking in you? Is it bringing back a memory? So starting out the brand, I literally just gifted out candles to family, friends, and just getting expression, right? People will say like, wow, I really like this candle, or like, you should really dive in and like start this. And I think it's bringing, it's a woman dominated industry in terms of the buying power, but I would say it's bringing, I think, a male perspective into the industry from someone from the BIPOC community.
If you see our episode, I think the 10th episode, 11th
Mhm.
episode, it's with a candle manufacturer such as yourself. His name is Refugio Jimenez. He's he's the owner and founder of Arcane Chemistry, which is also a candle brand. And he's like you said, it's a women-dominated industry, but there are still males in it, and he is one of the
Absolutely.
males in that industry. And I
Mhm.
did an episode with him, and it was great.
Yeah.
We dove deep into his candles and how he makes them and what sparked the idea. Okay, so in your case, it was you were from the industry and you kind of played around with scents in the beginning, testing phase with your family, with your mother, with your friends, and then you went over and then you slowly gave it a name, gave each scent a name, and then from there on out you when did you start the branding process, if I may ask?
Yeah. So what's funny, my last roommate in New York, she went to design school. I actually
Mm,
started the brand with roommates living in the house. So it was like a full New York story, I guess. Just like the
really?
crib always
I'm
smelling,
ready to hear it.
smelling. Yeah, we had a three-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn, New York. And
Did you
I got like my first kit of candles, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make a full batch. So try to make candles when no one was home. Literally doing it from a burner, and yeah, just like making candles, making things that I actually just liked, and have them around the house. Roommates would smell them, and then as I started doing the branding process, trying to bridge things together, logo. She connected me with one of her friends who's a designer, and I kind of made things full circle. The name kind of really came just like me, like playing around with different names. Like I felt like I always like when you kind of bridge together like the Latin with English language. So that's where you get like Aromas De Loft. I kind of wanted to add my last name in there, and then kind of playing around with the name Aromas De Lofton. Was like, is that really gonna hit? Is it Aromas De Loft?
you
Yeah,
did you play around with the name in the beginning, or was it always
totally.
Aromas de Loft?
I was always playing around with the names and seeing what actually sticks. And then you just kind of say it 100 times, and it's like, you know what, that actually sounds good. Like, I think this is it. And it's like, this is going to be on paper. So it's like, let's make this happen. And I think it was just like
Right.
slow steps. Yeah. It was like every day coming home from work, I would just like do something else, whether it's the design part, whether it's like doing scents. And then once I started the scent process, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do 5 scents to start out with, and let's just see how they go. Um, those 5 scents, I have two of them still. I started with Summers in Kentucky. That scent I love personally for myself. What that encompasses is pretty much my love for bourbon, right? Also the love for vanilla. Vanilla is pretty much universal in everything, but I wanted to create a vanilla that kind of embodied something I enjoyed, right? Bourbon, when it's produced in the barrels, it creates like a vanilla what automatically comes from it. And I feel like that is the concept of the Summers in Kentucky. Pink Egypt. more of a patchouli scent. Um, Never Nude, I made that mainly because of the properties or scents that my girlfriend liked, right? She liked eucalyptus and a Quran, and I kind of just wanted to like bridge those two together. Excuse me, Southern Magnolia, and then the last one was True Gossypium. True Gossypium is like the truest form of cotton, so I felt like that's gonna be like that clean scent. Each name kind of just was like fun to me, just kind of creating something that was fun and unique. And yeah, and from then we expounded now to like 10 different scents. Some of those scents we don't have anymore, but we still have Pink Egypt, Summers in Kentucky, and Never Nude. Yeah.
Yeah, these are a
Yeah.
lot of these scents that you mentioned. These are these your scents for are these the scents that you have on as your retail, or are you were you still experimenting with these scents? How many, speaking of scents, how many current scents do you have on your store?
So we currently have 10 cents. We have 10
That's it.
cents currently. Yeah, those 3 cents are currently in retail. But we wanted to keep those cents just because I felt like it was like the exception of the brand. People really like them, and they're from the start, so it's like let's just keep something from the start. Southern Magnolia, I felt like I wanted to make it a little bit more complex. So I kind of was like, you know what, I'll take that off the market. And same with the True Gossypium, it's like a clean cotton, but my source for like fig was like a real big thing. Like I wanted to have like a fig focus, then and then figure out what else I wanted to add into it.
How does it, what was, how does these scents, of course, whenever you manufacture these scents, you tested them in the beginning, of course you did, but what do these, what is the, how do you want to make your, what is your brand identity? What do you want to make your client feel? Of course, you're manufacturing scents,
Uh-huh.
you're a scent retailer, but what is the exact, because I know you have that in your mind, you have that what your client has to feel whenever they light us from it's starting from buying the candle all the way till the end of the candle, end of the wick. So what do you
Absolutely.
how do you perceive the client's experience as? What
Perceive
is it?
it
Because
as, yeah,
let me just
yeah,
add one more
yeah.
thing. For example, what I was reading a post one day, Nike, of course they sell shoes, but
Right.
they're also selling a feeling. They they're
Mhm.
selling a feeling of just doing it, just do it. It's also their slogan. So they're selling a feeling of doing what you're supposed to do. What feeling are you selling?
For me, it's calm and relaxation, right? I
Calm
think
and relaxation.
it's like when you light candles, it's usually when you're in that zone, either you're relaxing or you are feeling this comfort, right? It's usually in a place of comfort and relaxation, but you want to smell something
Yeah,
that smells good, or you want to smell
of
something that you
course.
really enjoy. Also, I think scents evoke like this feeling of a memory, right? Inspiration. It can be travel. So usually when you light a candle, it's either the end of your day, it can be during work hours. It can be in that mode that you just have a mode of like, tranquility, relaxation, and calm. And I think that's what, the candle industry really expounds on. I think what makes different candle makers different is what they put into it, right? So for us, we really wanted to like evoke and challenge our end users to actually enjoy the property of the scent that's inside, right? It's like if you're someone that like wood, a woodsy scent, but you're a woman, that's fine. Scents don't have a gender. So you're enjoying exactly whatever you personally like that this candle has. So that's why it's very subjective. It's almost like wine, right? I'll taste a wine bottle or take a sip, but it's not your cup of tea, right? You're like, it's not mine. And I think that's the same
Yeah.
thing with scent. It's almost
I
like,
hear
and
I
that's why,
think the
yeah,
scent
yeah,
industry and the wine industry, sorry to get you off, they're kind of like the same, right? Scent and wine industry.
absolutely. Yeah, I think even with cooking, I think like I feel like when I create the brand, I think it's more encompassing someone who's a creative because you're creating a scent that you hope others will like, and but you're only basing it off of things that you might like. But I also make things that I don't like. Like I'm just trying to hit that olfactory um parameter of the woodsy, the floral, the citrus, the clean. but making sure that we hit those and hopefully that someone likes it within those parameters, right? Yeah, I think it's all subjective, and I think it's like something that if you like it, you think others will too.
The wine industry and the candle industry is pretty much the same.
Absolutely. I feel like it's like that creative aspect that you create, right? It's like more of something
I think
that,
so.
yeah, it's all creativity. I think, when it comes down to wine, they have fields, for a certain grape varietal. Um, but it's all that creativity, right? That um the winemaker is going to do. Same with candle making. It's like you're trying to actually create something that you think others will like. So yeah, it's all creativity for sure.
I see so many wines when I go to a liquor store, and it's never ending, right? That's how
Absolutely.
similarities I see with the candle. There's so much space in the industry. It's so huge, so big.
Yeah.
There's a piece of the pie for everybody in the industry. And
I agree.
just it never ceases to amaze me. That's all I'm saying. It never ceases to amaze me how big it is. So I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. It's so huge, and there's people coming in every day. There's different brands. There's different names, logos, artwork, so much
Yep.
different stuff, and people still because when I go to let's just take a typical liquor store down the street. You go there, there's so much wines. It's not like a beer or a hard liquor or spirit industry because there's a couple of names or even the shoe industry or the clothing lines. Even it's safe to say now the clothing line industry is too big as well, but the variety you have in the candle industry and the wine industry, it's so huge. And I think that space
It
is
is. Yeah.
still, it still has a potential to be tapped into. And
Absolutely.
I think you can never go wrong with that. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I
You can never
think
go wrong with
both
that.
industries are, yeah, both industries I think just have an endless amount of options,
They
right?
do.
But I think what's great
Yeah.
about that is it helps you reach that audience. Um, you're gonna reach an
So many
audience that just likes
connoisseurs.
it. Yeah,
Exactly. There's a lot of people that have so different tastes in wine as well as scents. So there's definitely
yeah,
someone to capture. And I think you did it. I think Refugio, of Arcane Chemistry, one of the guests on my podcast, like I told you before, he did it. And I think there's so much to tap into in that market. That's great. And what challenges were you facing when you were looking for a packaging manufacturer and you stumbled upon half price packaging? What challenges were you facing, and what challenges did we solve for you?
yeah. I think the biggest challenge is the saturation
If
of
any?
trying to find the right company, right? Working with the right
Yeah,
company,
packaging
trying to
industry is also huge.
find, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
It's
a huge
huge.
industry. Yeah, it's really big. And I think for us, I just like to be the creative, to be honest. The creative, the candle maker, um, but the packaging side is something I really want to be a part of, right? It's like, well, we have a brand. We know that from the hand wrap aspect, it's great, but it's hard for us to actually be able to scale at this time, at this level. So what we wanted to do was just try to find a package company that kind of made it a lot seamless for us, easier for shelf life, easier for us in terms of the next few years. Um, the biggest challenge is like costs we find, as well as being able to relate with the company, right? Like, do you guys really know what I'm trying to do here? Is it coming through in terms of the end products? Is the end piece is like when you get some mockups, it's like, nope, that's not it. Like, you guys didn't get it. Um, yeah, and I think it took a lot longer than expected. It took about 8 months for us to actually find. We went to some packaging
Wow.
conferences here in LA. We went to some
Did you?
packaging conferences in New
Lord.
York, emailing back and forth, getting mock-ups that just wasn't correct. something I wanted to show is that like when you look at it like our old packaging, what we really wanted to create is kind of seamless with that
Is
wax
that
seal,
your
right?
old
Like the wax
packaging?
seal, yeah, yeah, this is the old packaging.
Is that a real
We
wax
used to
seal?
bow tie it. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Nice.
it's
Nice.
camera. Yeah, yeah, with our logo
So you used
inside
to
of it.
bow tie on top of it?
And then we'll just tie it around here. We had like a twine that we put around it. But yeah, it was a full process. I mean, it's also time consuming, right? Like it's more of an artisan artisan packaging that we thought that if we can just find a another designer that can actually incorporate it, kind of like where you guys came in at perfectly for us, is that we don't really have the wax seal,
Nice.
and that's something that we'll probably incorporate a little bit later. But we're like, we still want that same resemblance for sure. Yep.
Yeah, if you could, speaking of, I know Ross. He manufactured your packaging. He's a veteran at the company.
Yep.
He's great.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking at your packaging, from what I can see, is if you want to save, because we have something called the color of the wax seal. It's kind of like a shiny color, right? You could definitely get a
Yeah.
sticker that mimics the same feel, that same touch, and you can emboss it. I'll let Ross know if he could get you a quote on those, but you can emboss it and get the same
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
feeling that. But of course, it's not going to look like exactly what a wax seal is, but you could either replace that with a wax seal or you could use the sticker with the wax seal. Put the sticker on the side. I've seen some people do it. It looks really
Okay.
cool. We can get the
Okay.
logo embossed and then it's raised so people when they brush their finger over the sticker, they can feel it like a 3D version embossing. That's what it's called. So they can feel that. Yeah, that's a
Okay.
suggestion.
I
And
love that.
I'm glad to see that we did live up to the cost and cut that out. And thank you for saying that we also vibed with you because that's the main goal. Just portraying the brand's essence into the packaging because that's one
Yes.
of the main goals of a entrepreneur should be to have the essence of their product in the packaging before the client even buys the product. So I think that's a very good thing to the thing that we did for you.
Mhm.
And I believe that I think Ross, he's one of those dudes over here who does get the idea of what the client wants. So I think he did
Absolutely.
justice to your box, and I think your box looks great. It looks super good.
I
And
appreciate it.
is it the
Yeah,
same
like our finished
box for every
product.
scent?
So what we did was
Nice.
we didn't do every. What we really wanted to do is that like every box we weren't sure what the new scent would be. So what we did was it just get labels for the back, to change it out. We felt like
Oblivion,
that
huh?
was going to be the yeah. So this one is Oblivion. We didn't want to, yeah, because we constantly are trying to think about new ideas or like different scents, like a strike pack, like just something that we're like, hey, we're doing a pop up here. Let's figure out if we want to do a new scent, right? I'll, yeah, make something. So we didn't want to like just, do something where we didn't know. So we just kind of kept them plain in the back and we just have labels for them, make it a lot easier for us for sure. Uh,
And
but yeah,
when you
ideally,
place the
yep.
product in, once you place the product in the bag, do you just put the candle inside, or do you still wrap it up and put the wax logo, or did you just eliminate the wax logo completely?
Yeah, we eliminate the wax logo completely. If we work with someone who wants to do private label and they see that, and then we've done that like in the most recent. But in our like in the most recent, we have just kind of kept it because we're pitching retail a lot lately and really trying to get into more stores. So with that, we wanted to keep the brand identity the same, right? Like changing up things too much takes away from that brand identity. So that wax seal we think is going to be more so for private label. Or if we do like a pop up where the artisan concept is, where we can actually like hand wrap on site, put that wax seal on it. We're looking for like some holiday markets where
That's
we
a
can
good
do that
idea.
at. Yeah. Yep.
Do you go around those some pop-ups, some artisan pop-ups in around the city?
Absolutely.
You do
Yep.
that?
Yeah, I've done a few of them. One of my favorites is Renegade Craft. Shout out to the team over at Renegade. They had like a 2-day event here in LA this year. We love to support Black on the Block. We also done Black Market Flea, which is also vendors here or a vendor market here in LA. Yep. So we haven't really done outside of Los Angeles. We usually just stay in LA. Yeah, we're looking to like branch out, but mainly to try to get into more stores where I feel like the product would, live on shelf and kind of speak for itself.
Speaking of the stores, what is I know that there's some certain stores that have artisan stuff. There's a town called Hudson in Massachusetts. It's a little north of Boston. There's an old building, mill building. It used to be a mill, but now they cleared the mill out, and now they have little stores over there that are they have very crafty artisan products. And there's a store over there called Naughty Pine, and you can look it
Okay.
up, Naughty Pine. And
Okay.
you go there, and then they have a lot of artisan stuff. One of the artisan stuff that they had over there was honey. They had honey. They had honey jars over there from a company called Hudson Hives in the city of Hudson. It's in Hudson,
Okay.
Massachusetts, and it's very good honey. It's local honey, artisan honey. And I actually found that honey at an acupuncture doctor's office because I went for an acupuncture treatment, and she had a little stall there for the honey. And
Okay.
then I was like, my
Okay.
God,
Okay.
this is the most delicious honey I've ever had. And it was local
Oh,
honey from the store,
wow.
local honey from the state. And then I was like, you know what? Where can I find this? So I went on their website. They did not have a brick and mortar. Hudson
Okay.
Hives. They
Okay.
do not have a brick and
Okay.
mortar. So I
Okay.
went on their website, and they had a list of retailers where they had their honey, and then it was
Okay.
mentioned Naughty Pine and whatnot. So I went to Naughty Pine, that's that store,
Mhm.
and they had really cool stuff. They had Coke bottles, Coca-Cola bottles from the 80s for sale, and stuff like that. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying?
That's
And
pretty
I
cool.
saw the
Yeah, that's
honey. They
pretty
had their
creative.
whole stall of honey over there, and I was like, my God, that's really cool stuff. And they put that over there, and now Hudson Hives finally opened up their own brick and mortar. They have their own brick
Wow.
just
Okay.
recently, and they opened it up because the sales were
That's a full
so
story.
dope and so good. So they just did it. And
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that just reminded me of a story that I wanted to tell you regarding some artisan products
Yeah,
such as yourself. Even though
I love
candles and
that.
honey are like worlds apart, but still, people go for small
Absolutely.
businesses who hone their craft a lot. So yeah, that just brought me the idea. So Maceo, what is your background, by the way? Where are you from? Are you from you grew up in New York?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I grew up in New York, grew up in Queens, Far Rockaway, to be exact. It's I don't know if you're familiar with Queens at all, but
I
small
am.
city. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Small city, super diverse. Um, Went to school pretty much all in New York from elementary up until college. Went to City Tech for associate's degree. It's a community college of New York, and then Baruch College, which is the business school that I got my degree at. And yeah, I mean, New York taught me a lot. I probably had so many different jobs growing up. Starting at a horse stable, was like one of the first jobs in summer youth. Worked at a police station. Um, yeah, as I think about it, I was a mail carrier. So I think having different jobs kind of gives you a different perspective, not only on life, but
Does.
like on like work ethic. Also gives you perspective what you want for your life, right? Like it gives you that big picture of like I worked in all these different careers. Now I know what I really want to do, right? So being an entrepreneur kind of always stuck out to me. Started a t-shirt brand with like friends back in New York. That was like the start to entrepreneurship. And then like to expand, it was like, well, this is great, but I don't think we have all the tools to really start this business, even though we started it. Like let's dive in deeper to like learn more of the industry, but also just something I'm super passionate about, or just a project that I started. Um, yeah, and I think you have to just find your niche, find like what you're good at, find what the thing that you really like. Sense to me just kind of came a little bit more natural, just because I feel like this was always part of self expression growing up. My dad always smelled good, right? Like they always like lit up a room, and I think that was like self expression for my household growing up. Some households are a lot different where your parents really weren't into like colognes or dressing up or fashion being the thing, but the household was. So it was like I feel like it's all ingrained. So when I like think of the product or think of the full story, it's like this makes sense. Like, even now, it's like I'll pay more money for cologne versus a pair of shoes because I know like this cologne represents who I am. Like someone to smell me before seeing me sometimes. So to me, that's like more of the identity. That's just like pretty much what it is. Um,
For
and I think
Aromas
that,
De
yeah,
Loft,
yeah,
you have 10 cents right now in terms of products. I don't know if you want to drop some spoilers right now or later, but where do you plan on releasing more products for
absolutely.
outside of candles
Yep.
maybe, or are you gonna stay within candles or maybe some scents, some soaps? Because it is the same kind of cosmetic. I wouldn't say cosmetic, I would say scent, but
Mhm.
it is, it's you can cross over a little bit too. So, what do you have any? Do you want to expand onto other products, or do you want to stay in scented candles?
Yeah. Definitely want to expand. I think in this last year or so, the biggest process has been packaging, right? I feel like we checked that off the list. And now moving forward, I definitely want to do a fragrance. I think something that's unisex scent, for both men and women. So that's the goal. I plan to do a trip next year to Grasse, which is the fragrance capital of the world, where I feel like I can find, different properties that I want to
Where is that
embody into a
city?
scent. Believe in France.
Okay.
Yeah, so that will be a trip to Europe. I haven't been to Europe yet. And that trip will be wine country and then Grasse. Like it has to be, like that's just what I see.
Yeah.
Explore wines while, trying to find that scent that I create. Yeah, I worked with a few perfumers too, who I felt like not only did they kind of give me more information about the fragrance side of things, but just where the fragrance industry is. And I think it's lot younger fragrance um designers who are just like really, exploding. So I think like yeah, to create a fragrance next year. And then we have two new scents that I think we're going to do. But I'm trying to get them out before the year is out. I have a scent called
Nice.
Never Nude. And I want to do
Mm,
another one called Always Nude. Just kind of like play off the two.
nice.
Um, every time I do a pop up, someone always hear Never Nude, and they're like, "You don't have Always Nude," so it's like a play on
Really?
the two. Yeah, so I'm like, you know what? We'll do a Always Nude because Never Nude is one of our top sellers. Yep.
Really? How does it smell like?
So when we think of Never Nude, this scent is black currant, eucalyptus, white lavender. And the black currant is supposed to be called like the forbidden fruit, right? So I kind of wanted to play off words that like it is a forbidden fruit, right? They say it's like, a scent that comes from like grapes. Um, but it's like since it's a forbidden fruit, it's like it's not hidden from its nakedness, right? So that's why I called it Never Nude. I wanted it to be like more of a fun type of scent. Other people equate it to, I guess it was a TV show on HBO, Curb Your Enthusiasm, where like Never Nude is a thing, but this scent had nothing to do with the show at all. It's just like what the scent has inside of it, its properties. It's sweet on the nose as a top note, but it has a base note of like that eucalyptus and jasmine and lavender kind of grounds it some. Yeah, I would say when people smell it, they feel the scent evokes like a calm, and I think that's where that eucalyptus come from.
Mm.
Then the lavender, and then that top note of that currant. I believe most people like currant. It's a scent that I would say is pretty bold. Um, so it's masking that lavender and eucalyptus that's inside of it. Yeah.
I think whenever when you told me about the scent, it also that was a good description, by the way. It did make me feel some type of way. And my it reminds me my father, he was also a scented. He was big on scents as well. And I think it's what you said that people can smell you before they see you. It
Hmm.
could
Yeah,
be in a bad way as well, because but in a
absolutely,
good way too.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So well, we're talking about the good way, right? We're talking about the
Yeah,
good
yeah,
scent. So it's
yep.
you smell it, you smell the person before you see him, and I think that that's what matters. It's very important to smell good and also be hygienic, because smelling good and being hygienic go hand in hand. And do you want to venture on into colognes?
I think I want to make once we do the first scent, I want to see how that one goes. I don't know if that's going to be our main place of colognes. Um, I actually it's a company here in California. It's the Art Institution of Olfactory. They actually had a scent week about a few weeks ago, and I met a bunch of different perfumers, cologne companies. And as I like the industry, I don't know if that's like the full vision for us. You know, but I do want to create a scent that can live for both men and women. A scent that's like embodied your self care, your self expression, who you are. Um, and yeah, I think for us, we're still trying to define like where we want to go, but I think candles is our niche. I feel like I love when, someone sees our candles or smells our candles. And usually when I'm at pop-ups, they don't think I'm the candle maker. And I'm like, no, that's me. Like I created this scent or like this is the brand. And to see that expression on someone's face is like, I'm not the Lilabo, I'm not a Byredo, I'm not a Diptyque. But yeah, we would love to be there someday. Um, being a student of the game, like I love music, I love, sports. So it's like understanding these industries kind of helped me to understand this industry, right? It's like diving in deep, where the fragrance capital is. Like I gotta go there. I gotta see, these different places. And I think that would kind of embody where the brand goes next for sure.
What are the challenges that you face with on a day-to-day basis or even a long-term basis? What challenges are you facing in for Aromas De Loft? What kind of challenges? Well, let's start off with the challenges you faced in the beginning, in the testing phase, and then let's
Yeah.
jump all the way up till now.
Um, so in the testing phase for us, it was pretty much just trying to understand more so where we're going, right? It's like once we have our sense, we have everything, people like the brand, how can we expound beyond friends, family now, right? Social media is like the biggest thing that most people use. And it's like, how can we use it to our advantage, but also get in front of it? So the biggest challenge was me really diving deep into content, creating content, um, and then figuring out like now that we have our sense, what is the property that we're going to continue to use? We did a few transitions. Like we started with the brand using a soy blend, with Pathorin. We did a lot more research on Pathorin and understanding that that's not ideal. So like the 50-50 blend that it had, it's not great for the environment, not great to burn. So when we noticed that, we're like, okay, how can we find a different wax that would be more sustainable and something that we can find? So then just diving deeper, doing a lot more research, beeswax was something that we found, coconut, and then apricot. Apricot was a little bit more on the pricier side, so we wanted to meet our customers where they were, right? We felt like we can't go super high with apricot because of the price point.
Right.
But then we found coconut. So now we're a fully 100% coconut company. We love coconut wax, the way it burns. I use coconut oil as, for my body, um, as a lubricant. So for me, it was like, well, what's next? And I think now we think about the brand or like where we're going. We have the sense, but it's about like now getting the brand in front of more people, right? So the challenge is like, how can we get the brand in front of more people? And I think by closing that void is getting into more stores, being more visual and vigilant on using social media. And yeah, being in front of the brand. There was a point that I didn't really want to be the face of the brand, right? Kind of like the Mason Margiela, right? No one knew who Mason Margiela ever was, right? But I think we're in a new
Who
age
was he?
where so Mason Margiela pretty much is a fashion icon. He created the brand, Margiela. Margiela is pretty much known by the four stitches that's in the back of a shirt, right? You'll see them kind of entwined as an X. You know, I worked in Barney, so I know a lot about like working, like understanding
You
more
know
of these
about
brands in detail.
Virgil Abloh? Virgil
Absolutely.
Abloh?
Virgil was
No one
in
knew who that
Barney's
was either.
actually. Yeah, actually, Virgil used to
Not a
actually
lot of
come into
people know who he
Barney's New
was.
York. Yeah, not a lot of
Really?
people. Yeah. Well, I feel like he was known because Virgil's different from Mason Margiela. I don't think Virgil was hiding
Okay.
the brand identity. I think Mason Margiela was more hiding the brand identity. Like they didn't know if it was a group or a man or a person or a woman. So I think it was like more of this mysterious brand that was creating dope clothing, but not really at the shows. You know, like someone like Virgil was at a fashion week. He was at the shows. He would come check on the brand and
Mm,
see how it was doing in the store. Like I actually would see Virgil come into the Barney's New York that I worked at. So that was a lot different for Mason Margiela. And I feel like for my brand is like, well, do I want to be the face? Do I really want to be in front of the camera? And I feel like for the small businesses now, you have to be that person that's championing your business, your
you think
brand,
so? Okay.
along with using brand ambassadors, right? I think it's setting a different stage because no one really likes the 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 owner who's never present, right? It's like you kind of just want to see that person with the brand. You know, you want to see what they're doing, who they are as a person. And I think we're now connecting the brand to the people. It's even like the Steve Jobs, the Amazons, the Elon. So like it's like if Elon does something, maybe Tesla goes down, right? It's like it always connects the person with the brand. It's kind of hard to do that in these days. And I think it's like, well, what's the fear running from that, right? The only fear is that if something bad happens with your business, your face is involved. And it's like, well, how can you do it in a way, in a positive light where you're that person, you're a small business. There's no blueprint that's really created for you. So you have to be the person that's talking about the brand, right? You're a male candle maker,
Yeah.
different from anyone else.
Two things.
So
You
yeah,
said the apricot when you were talking about the apricot. Now you replace it with coconut. You know, that's one thing is that it's challenging, when doing handling these logistics. If you want to do something, but it's too pricey, you can't do it. So you make do with what you got or what you can afford. So I think
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
stuff annoys the hell out of you. That annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But right
Well, you
now
got to
you'll be
pivot,
able to
right? Yeah.
see
Yeah.
there's no way around it. I mean, you gotta make do with what you have. And I think that's very important
Absolutely.
because some people, a lot of people dream that, hey, when I get to this point, then I'm gonna do whatever's on your mind. But they overlook what they already have and what they already can do now at the stage that they're in. So I think that's a very good. It matters a lot when you're trying to uh, when you're dealing with business logistics and whatnot. So that's one thing I wanted to
Absolutely.
say.
Yeah. I think you have to pivot as a business owner. You have to understand who your customer base is. You don't want to do something that's not going to be long term as well or have a long term effect. And I think having that long term effect, I think it's just ideal. Like you just want to make sure that you're putting your business in a place where it is here for the long term. And it's like if you're changing pricing constantly, if you're making too many changes too quickly, it's like who really knows the identity of your brand? And I think I really wanted to make sure that the identity of the brand is known from pretty much every aspect that we do, right? It's like, well, we're trying to be sustainable. The biggest part of a candle company is like sustainability, right? It's like after the use of a candle, most people throw them away. Something that I try to do here in LA is like, how can we actually reuse the candle jars that, were used? It's hard to really do that on a global scale, but if we're in our community where, most people are buying candles, like we can probably control it.
Right.
Um, so yeah, it's a lot of things that you think about as a business owner, but trying to find ways that, help you guys kind of be there for the long haul.
I was actually doing a podcast with another client, cosmetic brand owner, called Lava Shell. She's a startup out of a little town north of Austin, Texas. That we talked about the same thing we're talking about right now, putting the person, putting a picture of person's, putting a picture on the brand, name, person's name on the brand, the founder, putting him or her, with the brand. And I think we talked about the same thing. There's pros and cons to having the person behind the brand and coming into the light with a face, putting a face on the brand. And I think a lot of people have that, want to do it. Some people don't. And she told me about the pros and cons. For example, on her website, you don't see her, but she did decide to come on the podcast. But she's not.
Okay.
But
Okay.
some of my clients,
Okay.
they are. And I think, like you said, it's the pros are that it's important to put, when you put bring a face to the brand, people like to see that. People want to see who's behind it. People want to resonate. And sometimes, if you don't put a face on the brand, some people don't. Uh, it also has its pros. Maybe people want to just resonate with the brand and not the person. So it's a very tough. It's something to look into for sure. And I think I have a podcast, so there's no way I can't not put a face on that because it's on a
Yeah,
video.
you got to
So
show yourself.
I just do it. Right. So I already have a
Okay.
face over there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the if I open a brand, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm still gonna look into it. I'm trying to open a mac and cheese store, a mac and cheese bar.
Okay.
So
Okay.
maybe
Okay.
I will.
Okay.
Maybe I like mac and cheese, so you know what? I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely get the reason why some people don't want to do it, and it's huge. My biggest thing though is because a lot of companies are starting as small businesses. I think people want to connect with a small business, especially
Agree.
someone from
I
a
agree.
BIPOC brand, right? If you're coming from a Black community or Indigenous or Latino, it's like, well, how can we connect this person with this brand? Also, when you're creating content, or the story, right? What's the story behind you creating it? And I think for us, we just kind of wanted to create more of a storyline. Um, and it's like, yeah, when I do pop-ups, it's usually just me. It's not someone else that I'm hiring to do it. So it's kind of like you're that person that's going to show up. And yeah, we're here.
Nice. I just so we talked about Aromas De Loft. We talked about how you started, where you want to be. What is the long-term vision though? Long
Long-term
term.
vision is to be in a bunch of stores, right? Maybe to open up our own, but to be in any stores on the East Coast, West Coast, the South, to just pretty much occupy space. Opening up a store or brick and mortar would be more of an experience. What I thought about is like creating a storefront, doing candle making classes. I would love to pair
Mm,
spirits with that, right? Like spirits or hors d'oeuvre snacks. But the concept would be to actually create something where people can come in and have an experience, make their own candles. I know the stores around the world that's doing this now, but yeah, I think it's like a great date night. We utilize wooden wicks, so I think the romance is in our candles, right? That's one of the features that wooden wicks kind of give. Like you'll hear that wicker that almost resembles a fireplace. So yeah, a date night, time with friends, family, Mother's Day, even Father's Day. Like I think it's like, doing something in a collective way. Even males that I meet now that are in the art of candle making, they're like, I like it. It's relaxing. Like it gives me peace. It's calming. And I think it's just a different art form. So yeah, those would be the next plans for us. I don't know if that will happen in the next 2 years, 3 years, but I think it's about what we're laying down now that will, make sense for us. Yeah.
the podcast that I did before with Refugio, he was, like I said, he's a candle maker such as yourself, manufacturer and retailer. He also has kind of like the same vision yourself, that having a brick and mortar,
Hmm. Yeah.
selling an experience. for example, creating your own and giving out, taking some tours somewhere where you can, I don't know, maybe get some inspiration from maybe going somewhere and getting an inspiration for a scent, maybe getting an
Yeah.
idea of a scent, and
Yeah.
stuff like that that you can offer. And
Hmm.
then again, like you said, candle making classes, you're selling an experience, not just the product itself. That brings me back to my main point. That's what you want your clients to experience, giving them the idea of uh, freedom, of creativity. And it's not just
Absolutely.
a product; it's an experience that you give, and which is and uh,
Hmm.
calmness and creativity. And I think that's great. And I think that's wonderful that you're doing because it's such a diversified space and but still there's space for if there's space for everyone, and just like the wine business. And it's being an entrepreneur is it's pretty tough. And for me, I mean, I haven't jumped into it yet. I work for now,
Hmm.
but people say it's all fun and it's all breeze. And so, but it's not a full-time job. It's a 24/7 job basically. You're always on the clock. So I think
Absolutely.
you probably
Yeah.
feel that way as well because you're always thinking about candles, your scents, the what you want to do, your long-term vision. Even at your day job, you're probably doing that. So I think that's a full-time
Yeah.
job, and I think it's not easy, and it's not something that you clock in or clock out with. What advice would you give to a person who's in the kennel business? Somebody, because there's got to be somebody who's younger than you or older than you trying to be in the kennel
Hmm.
business. What kind of advice would you give to that person?
Take time for yourself, for sure. Right. I think it's like in the industry, for if you're working a day job and you're working with your business, I think it's really hard to take time out for yourself. Right. Definitely work hard, but take time for yourself. And the reason I say that is because we work, 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 and it's really hard for us to really enjoy life. And it's the American will, right? I think we're in the
Tell me
American
about it.
will, we're in the matrix. One is taking time for yourself. And then planning out, your actual plans. And I think don't just do it for a week, but do it for 3 to 6 months. You'll probably pivot along that road, but I would say once you have a plan in place, it creates structure. And I think that structure helps you even within your life, right? And I think for us, one of our biggest goals this year were like, how can we get more subscribers? Um, but what plan are we putting in place, right? What makes people want to subscribe to candles? Is it that candle maker that always buy candles, or is it just someone who, you know, likes a good scent? And I think once you have that plan and structure in place, I think it makes it a lot easier for everything else. And then the next thing I think is, yeah, I would say after you do the structuring, after you take time out for yourself, is really executing, right? I think our execution phase right now is pretty much back to the ground, is cold calling, right? It's not the most enjoyable thing, but it's the most fun part that I feel like I can actually talk about the brand to someone who I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm cold calling stores in New York, like, hey, this is Maceo from Aromas De Loft. How's it going? And then in my day job, I, call restaurants to find that connection. So it's like I'm still spewing that into my job. So it maybe not be the most enjoyable part of the business, but it's like, well, how can we now execute, right? We have our packaging, but we want it to live in your store. Execution part, I think, is one of the hardest parts because now it's like, well, you have everything in place, you have inventory, but you don't want to just sit on that shelf. You want it to actually be in stores. And yeah, you're doing the uncomfortable thing. And for some, cold calling can be uncomfortable, right? But it's still the old part of the
Yeah.
business.
That's one of my
It's,
job duties
yeah,
too, cold calling about packaging. And
yeah, yeah,
hey, this is
yeah.
Ali from Half Price Packaging. Are you still in the market
Yeah,
for some boxes? And you get a lot of hangups, but you get some hits. And when you get those hits, you feel good.
yeah.
And then even though we do get a hit, it's a whole journey afterwards too. You're like
It's a journey.
maybe the
Yes,
client
it's a journey.
doesn't want to. Maybe the client. You're right. Exactly. It is a journey.
Hmm. Yep.
It's not a hit until you make the sale, and then after you make the sale, you got to make sure that your clients get the process correctly. the boxes aren't damaged. And
Yep.
once the boxes are over to them safe and sound, then you got to make sure that they buy from you again. They become your repeat customers. You offer them good prices, good
Absolutely.
deals, good payment
Yep.
plans.
Yes.
So
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
you. Hey, what can you do?
It's a full
This
cycle.
is like you
It's
said,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Matrix, and
Hmm.
you play the cards you're dealt with. So that's what I do. I'm
Absolutely.
playing the cards I'm dealt with. Everyone does, but the bad side is not to look into the future for stuff. Just play the cards that you have right now, rather than foreseeing, rather than I don't what's the word I'm looking for? Dwelling on the future rather than dwelling on or in
Yeah.
the future
Yeah.
or the past. It's better to stay in the present. Although it's not bad, you have to sort of look long term. You have to have a long term game plan, but at the same time, you gotta also play the cards you're dealt with. And I think that's that's what you're doing, and that's how I've made sales. That's how a lot of people here like Ross. I don't know how. I'm sure his customer service was great, and I'm sure he
Yeah.
actually nailed
Absolutely.
Aromas De Loft exactly down. And
Yeah.
I'm happy. You showed me the box. It was
Shout out
great.
to yeah, huge shout out
Ross
to
Morgan.
Ross. Ross Morgan got it right. Man, me and Ross had like a whole email thread. We had pauses, we had finishes. Ross is like that guy, and
He's a good
somebody that
dude,
comes from a
huh? He's
sales,
a good dude.
yeah, yeah, and someone that comes from a sales background, you just can appreciate a good service and good experience. For me, and I think that's where the hand wrapping concept kind of really came from, is when I worked in Saks and Barnes, we actually had to wrap or fold clothes. I don't know if you ever bought something, but that end product of handing off the bag a certain way, and it's just like the integrity from selling or that full selling cycle. It just has so much love to it. So when you have somebody that kind of appreciates that or does it the right way, you give kudos to them for sure. Yeah, and I think Ross definitely got it right. Yeah, we love our packaging. Um, and yeah, I feel like we weren't going for like the full unboxing experience, but we wanted to have something that feels luxe. Some brands really have the unpackaging experience. And for us, it's like, well, as soon as they open up the can, they're gonna smell it, right? That's gonna be the first thing that they pull out. So it's like we didn't really want to invest too much on what the unboxing story was, but we really wanted them to enjoy what that luxury feeling is. And I think we hit it on the nail for sure. Yeah.
Nice. There's so much stuff you can do with packaging, and I'm sure Ross will let you know about it as well. There's so many things. Keeping the cost the same and then adding or subtracting special features and whatnot. It's always about you want the client to feel it's kind of luxe, but also you want to keep your product safe. Your product is a little fragile. It's glass, so you got to keep it safe
Yes,
as well. So safety and aesthetics go kind
absolutely.
of hand in hand. But that's the whole point of
Yep.
packaging, aesthetics and safety. So I think
Aesthetics
Ross
is
did the
huge.
project. Yeah, he did it justice. He did the product justice. He did your boxes justice, and I'm really thankful for Ross, and I'm thankful for you, Maceo, for coming on the show and being such a honorable and great guest. I mean, I hope you feel better. I know we're a little under the weather, but I want to thank you so much for being on the show because I it's uh it's always good to hear from our clients. We love you here at the company. We value you, and we want you to stay with us. We want you to keep keep us as your vendor, and we want to make sure that your packaging needs are met all the time, any day. So that's my main goal. Make sure that we
Appreciate
do you
that.
justice
Yeah.
and make sure that you get
Yeah.
everything on time because we're
Yeah. Yeah.
that's my job at least.
Yeah.
So, but
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah.
thank you for coming to the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having Aromas De Loft. I think for us, it's just great to speak about the brand. To work with a great packaging company for us. I think as we continue to think about what's next for us and think about who we want to work with, it's great to have great partnerships within the industry. Not only just for good business, but someone that we actually want to grow with. Right, that's important because as you think about relationships, you think about business long term. Yeah, it's about you know just I think it's really hard sometimes just removing that aspect of just sales and money. Is like, is there a foundation there of someone who's understand your brand, understand the concept? And I think it's great that you guys get it. So
Yeah, speaking
yeah,
of
I'm super
foundation
appreciative
and
to
money,
you,
right?
Ross.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
And what I was saying
no
was,
problem.
speaking of foundation and money, yeah, the goal is to make sure that you get sales and you get something out. But what also is super, or even more important than sales and money, is that you're solving a problem, and we solve your
Absolutely.
problem, and
Yeah,
you are solving your client's. So I think
absolutely.
problem solving supersedes money any day. And that's when you get the money,
I
because
agree.
the more you
Yeah,
solve other people's
yeah.
problems, you get the cash coming in. So I think that goes
Yeah.
hand in hand. Maceo, let me get a picture. You ready?
Let's do it.
Perfect. So thank you so
Awesome.
much for coming on the show, Maceo. You look great, and I hope you feel better. And one last thing before you go, where
Yep.
can
Yeah.
our viewers find you on the socials?
Absolutely. So you can find us at Aromas De Loft. That's spelled AROMASDELOFT .com, and that's our at for Instagram. Yeah, we hope to service anyone who's looking for candles as well as looking for a subscription plan. But yeah, try us out. I would say we use coconut wax, wooden wicks, and 10 different scents. And on our site, you'd be able to find that scent that pretty much fits your category, whether it's a woodsy scent, floral scent, and you'll like it just because it's the scent itself, not just because it's masculine or feminine.
Perfect. Aromas De
Yeah.
Loft, everybody. Check them out.
Yes.
Maceo,
Thanks.
Maceo Lofton, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a
Appreciate you
wonderful
guys.
day. And I
Yes,
will
yes,
follow up
yes.
with you in an email in about 20 minutes. And
Awesome.
do me one favor, keep this open until it says your part has been uploaded fully. I'm going to leave the studio. Don't shut it down and just keep it open for another, I'd say, 30 minutes. And I think we'll be all set.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Peace.
Maceo. Have a great day, boss. Thank you.
You too. Peace.